Hey, there we go. We actually are live. I'm gonna need some stuff. My tendency to not untie my aprons has finally come back to bite me. This is the second apron I tried. Neither one of them were untied in the back. So, all right, so we are making one of my favorite things tonight. We'll go over this part for a while now, but we are making Supreme Pizza Bratwurst seasoning, Supreme Italian Pizza Bratwurst seasoning, and we are going to take a whole log of old style, like hard pepperoni, hard log pepperoni, and we're going to grind it up with everything else. That mix of the pork, the seasoning, that little pepperoni, and then we've got some nice, just store-bought, but a nice Rouse marinara sauce. We're gonna cook all of that up. It's gonna be absolutely delicious. I haven't made this in way too long, so I'm looking forward to it. I've got our 22 grinder with our one shot. So we're gonna get through the grinding in absolutely no time. Then we're gonna do some mixing just with our hands, stuff, and get it on the grill, which I've already got going. We actually have a coupon code. Let me move this a little bit for you guys. We've actually got a code for you guys tonight for just the live stream people. And let me type that in here somehow. It is live20. Live20. That is going to be good till 9 o'clock tonight. That is 20% off up to $100 at waltons.com. And it should be good till 8 o'clock. So if there's something you've been looking to buy, now would be a good time to do it. I've got my Miller Lite. We've got our grinder, our pork, our pepperoni, probably most importantly our seasoning. And we've got some high temp mozzarella cheese we're going to add in there. Going to be absolutely delicious. Sinister MD says you should try wearing scrubs and then you can go to the bathroom where the ties are in a knot and you're not sure if you're going to make it. Yeah, that kind of has happened to me a time or two. Mike says he's been there, Sinister. You have to shimmy off of them. So what I normally do is when I can't get this, I just pull it off, push it down, and step out of it. And then I tell myself I should right then take care of it, but I never do. As is evidence that it took 3 tries to find a single, there it is, a single apron that I could wear. I've got my Ascali Precision Digital Scale here. This is what we're going to use to make sure that I have the correct amount of seasoning. But the first thing we're going to do is start deboning these pork butts. Holding your breath the whole time. I dang near pulled out of my trauma shears and cut them, pulled out the trauma shears and cut them off. Yeah, nobody wants to pee their pants. It's not something that adults generally like doing. So I can imagine if it was between a soiled pair of scrubs or a cut pair of scrubs, I know I would choose the cut pair of scrubs. Although I don't know if you guys pay for them or not. I assume you don't. At least I hope you don't. All right, so we're gonna get going here. I am gonna first separate as much of the protein from the bone as I can. There's a couple easy ways to do this. The easiest way is you want to sit the pork butt down so that this long flat bone is facing up, right? So we're going to sit it like this, and then we're going to cut down at somewhere around a 45-degree angle. Although this one, not quite so much 45, more like, I don't know, a sideways Virginia, maybe? And then we'll set the side with none of the bone to one side. We'll put the other on the other whatever side. Same thing, I've got it here. This one should be better. So we're gonna cut down a little bit and then we just start cutting back into it. So we have a nice, more 45-degree angle there. So these two pieces have no bones in them. We're just gonna separate those for right now. Then we're gonna take a boning knife that's got some flex to it. It doesn't need to be super flexy. There's flex, stiff, and semi-stiff. The Walton's boning knives would be somewhere in the semi-stiff range. I don't love a super flexible boning knife. I just feel like it doesn't quite get the power where you need it. Depending on what you're doing, obviously an ultra flex boning knife has its purposes. But then once we've taken the bottom off of the pork bone, we're gonna find the most triangular piece. We're gonna cut down right along it, okay? We're gonna run into a bone right about there. Once we've done that, I'm just gonna follow that around from the top. And all I'm trying to do here is separate as much of the meat from as much of the bone as I can with as few cuts as I can. Because the larger pieces that I can put down my grinder, the quicker and better my grind is gonna be. If we're putting nothing but tiny little pieces down there, our grinder's gonna have a harder time. That auger is designed to grab, chunks of meat and put it down, not little slivers of meat. Sinister MD says, John, do you find any reason that the already deboned pork butts from Costco are any worse? No. They're, if anything, honestly, they're probably better. It's the same thought process behind our tubed hog casings. It requires extra processing, so they're only going to choose the highest quality ones to do that extra processing for, because they're going to pay. You're going to pay a premium for that, right? You're not paying the same amount per pound for a deboned pork butt as you are for this. So in general, they're probably higher quality. So again, we're just going to cut right down along this bone as far as we can. We're going to come back in from the other side. And just as few cuts as we can. We're trying to get as much of meat off of this bone as possible. And you can see here, like this one has a really nice fat cap. That's going to make some really nice sausage. Sinister MD says, I haven't priced them out. Just wondering if the costs offset the weight of the bone. Yeah, I mean, it definitely, in this, you're paying slightly for the bone, right? But the bone doesn't weigh much. And with this, they don't have to do any extra processing with. So if you can find boneless pork butts, I would go with those. Generally, I get most of my pork butts from Sam's or Dillon's, and they tend to have bone in way more often than boneless. Boning out a pork butt while keeping it in its regular shape, it's not hard, but it does require some skillful labor. An experienced hand. So they're going to charge for that. All right, we've got everything separated from the bone. Just going to go through these, make sure we've got pieces small enough to fit down the grinder head. And this is the 22 one-shot, so they can be decent sized, and this will still run it down. Now, I'm not actually sure that I've done this with the 22 one-shot. So once we get to the hard log pepperoni, we're going to try cutting that up just a little bit smaller than we normally do, just to make sure. Although I did just grind a bunch of chicken bones through the 22 one-shot last week, and it worked like a charm. So I'm sure it would work fine on that. So here I'm grabbing the portion of the pork butt again that we separated from the bone, and we're just going to cut it into long, thin strips that'll fit down the throat of the grinder. We're going to try not to cut ourselves this time. Aaron says, I like the debone only because I can get my measurements more exact to making 25 pounds. Yep. Part of using bone in is you're going to have to weigh or reweigh at least after you grind. There's no way around it. Those bones are too variable. There's no good hard and fast, like, you know, it weighs 10%. Most of them weigh just, you know, under a half a pound, but I have seen some rather large bones in there. Some pigs are just like me. They're not fat, they're big bones. So we're just cutting this up. And I've already white oiled my 22. I've already sanitized everything. I did something last week, or maybe it was Sunday, on Instagram showing how quickly a single bacteria under the right conditions can become over 1 million. And it's just around 7 hours. So I want to make sure that we're sanitizing everything before we start. With something like this, it's not quite as important as if we were using if we were making a cured sausage. Cured sausage, we're cooking it very high humidity, lower temperatures, so it's a little bit more concerning on what could be growing in there during the cooking process. These, we're gonna throw these on the grill. These are gonna get up to the temp in no time, so we're not concerned with that. All right, we've got all of our pork butts deboned, and we're gonna get everything. Wait, nope, there's one more thing to cut up. This is our hard log pepperoni. This is just a log of pepperoni I got at the store. We are gonna cut that up, grind it in with the rest of our meat, and that's gonna give it a really nice flavor. For anyone who's just joining and didn't see the text or the chat I put in from earlier, we've got a coupon code going for this live stream and this live stream only. Live, LIVE 20, and that will get you 20% off any non-sale product at waltons.com. So if you've been looking at a grinder, mixer, stuffer, you could get up to $100 off of that right now. So live 1, 2. All right. Just making sure I'm not missing any chats. I've got a 3/8 plate on here. The one shot does both the grindings in a single pass. Speeds everything up, makes it a lot easier, and does a really great job. If we were making a cured sausage, I'd put a 1/8 plate on here, but this is going to be a fresh sausage. We're just cooking this on the grill, so we're just using the 3/8 plate. Yep, thank you, Sinister MD. I appreciate that. I am going to grab a stomper. We shouldn't need this stomper, and I'm just going to sanitize it real fast. We shouldn't need this stomper. This is only going to be used if, when we push the meat down, it doesn't engage with the auger. We're going to let that sit for just 30 to 60 seconds, let it do its job sanitizing. It's been in a drawer, it's been cleaned, the drawer is clean, but we're going to be just a little careful with it. Sinister, good job. Yes, it is through 9 p.m. I appreciate that. Hopefully everybody has a few drinks, something that they can enjoy the live stream with. I've been back on my Miller Lite kick, a little bit less whiskey, a little bit more beer. Both have their advantages. But, so we've got, I'm going to guess, probably about 13 pounds of pork here, and say another half a pound of pepperoni. So I'm going to say at the end, we're going to be somewhere right around 14 pounds of meat. I might be a little bit over there, but we'll find out here. We're going to grind through this in no time. Now with that 1/8 plate, it would be the slightest bit slower, but not much. Just a tiny bit slower. And the advantage of this one-shot stuff is that it does both our grinds in a single pass, so we don't have to deal with that long, slow second grind. And because I can get my meat from the freezer, the fridge, to stuffing, mixing, grinding faster, that's better for my finished product. More meat does not grind well, doesn't mix well, certainly doesn't stuff well. The grinding is really the biggest problem. Once meat gets warm, that fat is going to start to smear instead of cut. So we're going to end up with pinkish goo instead of nice, clean, ground meat. And nice long strips like this just make it a little bit easier for the grinder to grab it and pass it down through the equipment. But you can do chunks if you like chunks better. Try to mix in the pepperoni throughout. We're going to mix this all by hand, so you should be able to do a good job getting it nice and mixed in there. But the more evenly you grind it through, the easier that'll be to stuff those things in. And I have no more pepperoni, so I did a bad job at that. And just a couple more tiny little pieces to go. I'm going to grab just a little handful, pass it back through. This will help give it the auger something to push the last little bit of meat out there. And we are done. So that was just a couple of minutes. We ground, I'm going to guess 13.5 pounds-ish. And since this has already been ground once, we can just add this right back to it. So this one shot works on a 2-plate system with a 2-sided knife, right? So the chunker plate or the kidney plate sits on the back, this 2-sided knife sits in between, and then you put whatever plate you want on the front. This plate in the front is locked in place, well, both plates are locked in place, and as that auger spins, it moves the knife and moves the meat down, so it's pushed between the 2 plates, and that knife gets both sides. So we get nice, quick, clean grinds with very minimal effort. And it saves us a ton of time. Excuse me. All right. So we're going to weigh this. We know that our Walton's 50-pound meat mixer, or 50-pound meat lug, weighs 1.7 pounds. So whatever the weight this is, we're just going to subtract 1.7 from, and we are at 16.1. So we're at just over 14 pounds. So I was off by just a little bit there in my guess. This is the Supreme Pizza Italian Bratwurst seasoning. No, it was a full log. I just cut it up, ground it up all into it, but it was a full log. Let me see if I can find the. I should still have the, yeah. I have to wash our hands well after this, but it was this. It was Bridford pepperoni. So just one long, large log. And it grinds up perfectly. You just want to make absolutely sure that you're peeling that inedible collagen casing off the outside. Now, it's inedible in the fact that it's not designed to eat you. It's not going to hurt you if you forget. But it will leave a little weird film in your sausage. So if you are going to do this, make sure you remove that collagen casing before you cut it up to grind it. All right, so we have 14.1 pounds, and we need the right amount of seasoning for 14.1 pounds. We've got our Ascali digital scale here. We're going to put our bowl on it, tear it out, and we're going to find a calculator of some sort. My brain's not going to do this on its own. And we have 1.125 is enough to do 25 pounds of seasoning. or 25 pounds of meat. So we divide 1.125 by 25. That gives us the amount of seasoning we need per pound of meat. We're then going to multiply that by 14 point, let's make it 0.2. That gives us 0.639. And then I want that in ounces, so I'm going to multiply it by 16. And I've got 10 ounces. So, let's cut this open. And we're going to measure away until we have 10.2 ounces. This has really strong, a nice fennel smell to it. Definitely a little bit of olive in there as well. It's a supreme. All right, so we're at 10.3 ounces. We'll leave it at that. We'll call that good. We're also going to add an entire thing, or entire 1 pound of mozzarella high temperature cheese. We could add a little bit more than that. We could add about 1.4 pounds, but I didn't want to take another bag out of inventory, so I figured we'd just do 1 pound. That's going to put us somewhere around 6 to 7%. A little bit lower than what we would normally do. I like to normally be in the 8%. I only know that because that's what 2 pounds to a 25 pound batch is. Austin, some other people like to do 10%. I find that just a little bit high, especially if we're talking about a snack stick, a summer sausage, anything like that. Cheese is just supposed to be a little bit of an additive to these sausages. It's not supposed to be the main course, right? And once we start getting up to that 10% range, it's standing out a little bit too much in my mind. With something like this, especially since we added pepperoni, it's got enough flavor to it. So I'm just going to dump that entire bag of high temp cheese in there. I thought I saw another comment come through, but I guess not. And we'll mix that seasoning in. I'm going to put just a wee bit of beer in there to help it mix in. Then I'm going to drink the rest of that. And we're going to start mixing. Now I'm only mixing to get all the seasoning and cheese evenly dispersed. I do not want to get protein extraction here. Protein extraction is for cured sausages. This is just a fresh sausage. So my only intention with mixing here is to disperse the seasoning and the cheese. If I get protein extraction, it's going to mess with the texture of the sausage, and it's going to end up more like a snack stick, summer sausage, depending on how hard I mix it, even a hot dog. So we want to make sure that we prevent that. We don't get quite that far. So I'm just kind of more folding it than actually mixing it with my hands. Trying to use my fingers as little as possible. I'm just moving everything around here. We're going to use our 30-pound electric sausage stuffer, and we've got 30-millimeter collagen casings that we're going to stuff it into. For anyone who's just joined in the last couple of minutes, I do have a coupon code out there. It is LIVE, LIVE 20. It's good until 9 p.m. tonight. Definitely 8 p.m., maybe 9 p.m. And it is good for 20% off anything that's not on sale right now at waltons.com, up to $100 value. So if you buy a $500 item, you're going to get $100 off. If you buy a $600 item, you're going to get $5 or $100 off. All right. So that's as quick as it is. I mean, our meat is basically mixed at this point. I don't want to go too much further. I don't have any clumps in here. I don't have any protein extraction. If I pick meat up, it falls right out of my hand. That's exactly what I want. I do not want it sticking. And everything looks nice and mixed in. So we're going to grab our 30-pound electric stuffer, load this up. We will get this stuffed in absolutely no time. And I've already got my grill going, so that part should hopefully be fairly fast. Try not to use too many gloves, so I'm only taking one off for this. probably have to move this around a little bit so you guys can see it in full frame. I came up underneath the tabletop here. That did not feel great. So this is a 30-pound model. We've got this and a 20 pounds. I do tend to like the 30-pound better. I'm just going to raise that piston all the way up. And the canister rocks back. So I'm just going to rock that back and fill this up. When I do that, when I fill it up, I'm just being careful to make sure I'm making as few air pockets as possible. Any air pockets we put into the casing or to the canister can go out into the casing. And that's not the biggest deal with a fresh sausage like this. With a snack stick, it would be a much bigger deal. But craftsmanship is craftsmanship. There we go. All right, got everything loaded up there. Lock that in, and don't need gloves anymore. There's a few new, do those tubs have lids that snap in place? Julius, these ones don't. We do have a 75-pound version that you do have lids, or that do have lids if you want them. Do you not like seasoning prior to grinding? So that's Brennan, that's a question I get a lot. Let me turn this off real quick as I go get another beer. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. There's no real reason not to do it. The reason I don't do it is, one, right now I'm using that dual grind system, so I get both my grinds done in a single pass. And with that, it's just not necessary. But number two, usually the amount of time between when I grind and when I can get to cleanup is very long. And once we start adding salt to ground meat, it's going to start basically extracting proteins. It's going to make it super sticky, and it just makes cleaning so much harder. That meat's going to set up. So if I'm doing it just like this, then I don't do it. Now, if cleanup doesn't matter to me, if I'm going to do it right away, or if I'm using traditional grinding methods, then absolutely. Adding your seasoning in between your first and your second grind can be a great way not only to make sure your seasoning is dispersed better, but it does speed up that second grind a little bit. It is actually faster on your second grind. So we're going to hear this here as soon as that piston engages with the meat. You'll hear a difference in the tone of the motor. We'll slow it down just a little bit, but we're going to get this stuff very, very quickly. You can hear it right there. Slow it down just a bit. And what I'm doing here is I'm holding the casing on so that it is full, but not overly full. I would always rather have a slightly understuffed casing for a sausage like this than an overstuffed casing. Reason for that is I can always throw a couple extra twists on a link and that'll tighten it up. If my casing is overstuffed, there's really not much I can do. I'm kind of done at that point. So I'm just holding it on there lightly. Doesn't have to be a death grip or anything like that. Just making sure that I'm forcing the meat to pull the casing away from me. I'm going to reload that. And continue. I think you also leave some seasoning in the grinder. Yeah, for sure, a little bit. But, I mean, you could say that about anything. We could say we're leaving some casing in the stuff, or some seasoning in the stuffer as well. I mean, it's just, there's going to be some loss in any type of sausage making we make. Even the big Tulsa hydraulic stuffers, things like that. We have something we call the stuffer flusher eggs. You can put them in the manual stuffers, and they will do a good job getting as much of the meat out of the stuffer as possible. It's not as important with these because we moved the spigot to be down in line with the bottom of the canister. So there's really not much meat that is stuck in these. But if you want to use it, you can. So the question is, did I use enough casings here? I think I'm going to be just about perfect. It's always this interesting little race. Aha! So here is the amount of extra casing I guessed. In my opinion, that's pretty darn good. Not too bad. I'm going to move this down here. We'll get it out of the way. And we're going to start linking these. Let me get this out of the way just a bit. We're not going to cook this entire thing of sausage, obviously. What we're going to do is link up a certain amount of them, cook those, and then I'll freeze the rest, and Allie or Austin or somebody can have it. Collagen casings have a lot of advantages in my mind. The biggest of those being I take them right out of this package, I put them right onto that stuffing tube, and we're good to go. I don't have to do any pre-work. There's no rinsing, no flushing, no soaking. There's just from the bag to the casing. The downside to them is I've got a really nice twist there, right? Like that's a nice clearly defined twist. Let me grab a nice clean knife. Watch what happens when I cut it. As soon as I cut that, the casing is going to a certain or lesser degree open. Now, on this side, that's not that bad, right? That's still nice and closed. But even if you cut directly in between them, one or both of those sides are going to come open. So the biggest disadvantage to a collagen casing, in my opinion, is you will get some opening of the casings. I did a demonstration up in Missoula, Montana a couple of weeks ago where I used collagen casings, and I was talking to some guys who had sworn off collagen. They thought they would never use it again. But it turns out they had just had old, dry, brittle collagen. This is what collagen should sound like when you rub it through your fingers. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it shouldn't sound papery. Like it should sound smooth. It has a good amount of oil to it. If your collagen kind of crackles as you're doing that, your collagen is dried out and should be probably thrown away. You can somewhat save it, right? You can put it in a fridge uncovered overnight. The moisture in your refrigerator will help rehydrate it, but it's not going to be perfect. It's way more prone to blowouts, and it's not going to stuff anywhere near as well. It will work though. Any port in a storm, if it's all you got, it's a good way to rehydrate it. Makes it a little bit better, and just overnight is more than long enough to do it. Even just a couple of hours definitely will help. The collagen casings have the same snap. That's from Sinister MD. That's more going to depend on our cook schedule than anything else. If we're cooking on a grill, then probably not. No. If we're cooking in a smoker, I would argue fairly strongly that it's going to have a better snap. Especially if we're doing snack sticks and our smoke schedule is really just nailed, if it's perfect. Our snap on smoked collagen casings should be better than anything we can get out of a natural product like sheep casings. I don't like sheep casings for snack sticks. I never have. I've tried them a bunch of times. I've had other people's products who are very good at making snack sticks, meat snacks of any kind, and I just don't like it. It's not the same. I'm going to throw these on the grill, I will be right back. We'll link up the rest of these, and then eventually we will get out there and we'll watch them as they finish up. So 4 for me, 8 for me, 1 for Allie, 2 for Austin, if he ever gets back after having his baby. And more beer. I've got my grill set to 350 out there. It lies. It's a liar. It's going to say it's only 314 degrees, but it's 350. What did I miss any other questions? Senator MG says, "What do you do if you rip the casing? Tie it off and put the lost meat back in the stuffer." It depends on how much we're losing, obviously, and how big a batch we're making, right? If I'm making a 100-pound batch and I lose a quarter ounce, no, that quarter ounce is just getting lost. But if it's a good amount, yeah, that's your only real option. You can take it all the way out of the casing, and I've done this before. 6 years ago, probably, I made an entire batch of snack sticks in collagen casings. All of a sudden, I realized that my bag of shirt cure was still on the table, meaning that it wasn't in the meat where it was supposed to be. So I had to split an entire 25-pound batch of snack sticks, put it all back in the mixer, mix that all up again, stuff it again. Needless to say, those were not the best snack sticks I ever made from a texture standpoint, from a taste standpoint. But, I mean, stuff like that happens. It's just part of the game. You pay as much attention as you can, but sometimes you're thinking about how amazing Jaden Daniels is and how the Washington Commanders have a really good shot at winning the NFC East again, and you just get distracted. Once again, for anyone who just joined us, we do have a coupon code going tonight. It is LIVE20, so it's 20% off any non-sale item at waltons.com. I do have, I know Sinister's here. Julius, I've seen you on a few of them in the past. Mike, I believe I saw you on our last live stream, but that could just be because Mike's a very common name. Who's here for the first time? Is there anybody who's watching who's never watched one of our, any of our live streams before? Whether it's this, whether it's the monthly live stream. There are also other ways to link collagen. You don't have to do individuals like I'm doing here. I just do it this way because with collagen, it's gonna come undone way easier if we do 5 or 6 in a row. So I just do them one at a time. It tends to give me the best results on keeping the ends somewhat closed, or at least shaped. Brennan's the first time. All right, cool. Well, I'm glad you found us. Hopefully there was something at Walton's that you wanted. If you're not familiar with us, we sell meat processing equipment and supplies, obviously, seasonings, hopefully everything you could want when making sausage, snack sticks, jerky, and we sell to both commercial and retail customers. One of the things we think sets us apart from some of the other people who do similar things with retail sales is we don't have a retail line and commercial. Well, that's not true. With equipment, we absolutely have a retail line and a commercial line. We figured the regular retail customers are going to want to spend $7,000 on a 22 grinder, or $16,000 on a stuffer, right? So we have retail versions of those things. But as far as additives go, seasonings go, anything like that, the same stuff we sell to commercial customers is what we sell to end users. And what I'm going to do with all this, all these extras that aren't getting cooked tonight, I'm going to go ahead and freeze these before I vacuum pack it. Reason I do that is sometimes, depending on the vacuum sealer you're using, you can crush your sausage a little bit if you vacuum pack it when it's not frozen, right? That frozenness gives it the rigidity to stand up to being compressed. If we try to do it with these, the meat, some of the meat would come out of the end of the sausage casing, and it also means that I don't have to stay here longer tonight and do vacuum packing. I can just cook, clean, and leave. Sinister MD says John's killing it. I'm waiting to dip my toes in the sausage stuffing, and they have so many options. Yep. Thank you. So we have a vertical screw 7-pound, which is our economy option. It's inexpensive. It's reliable to a point, but it takes a long time. Then we've got 3 different dual speed options in our classic style. Then we have the 2 electric stuffers, and then we have the 2 electric stuffers that we sell without the motor as well, in case anybody just wants to have a really, really nice stuffer, but not spend the extra couple $100 for a motor. And then you can add the motor later to those 2 versions, so the 20 and 30. With our 11, our dual speed 7, and our 26-pound, those do not accept a motor at a later point. Now, the most important thing, I think, at least, is if you have a Walton's 22 or even a 12, you should look at getting a one-shot. Whether it's we have 2 sizes, we have the 12 version and we have the 22 version. The 22 version works with the 22 grinder and the 32. The 12 works with any of them. You can put it on any of them. It's a little bit cheaper. The 22 is going to do a little bit faster of a job, but it's by like 10%. So if you wanted to save yourself, say, I don't know, $50, $60, something like that, and you have a 22 grinder, but you only want the number 12 one shot, it 100% will hook up. It'll work. It's going to be a little bit slower. And another advantage of the number 12 one shot is it uses regular plates and knives. With the 22, hold on, I'll show you. With the 22 one shot, that center hole is much, much bigger than your regular center hole for a grinding plate, because the torque is so much greater on those that we had to redesign the auger stud so it didn't break things. But with the 12, you can use just a regular old number 12 grinding plate and it'll work fine. The knife is different though. What situation would you not use the one shot? If I wanted to do a single grind on something, so if I was making a super chunky product, I wouldn't want to use the one shot for that. The last time I made dry cured sausage, I wanted my fat really nice and chunky, so I did that through a 3/8 plate in a traditional grinding method. But other than that, man, I mean, I use it all the time. All right, I'm gonna get this in a freezer. I'll be right back. Entertain each other. Ugh. Hopefully I don't get locked out of the room. And I know we've been teasing it for a while, but sometime in the next month or so, hopefully in the next month or so, we're going to take one of these live streams. We're actually going to walk you around the building because we are in the new facility. We're fully moved in now. It's pretty awesome. We're excited to show you guys. We've been waiting for a few things to get addressed, and I'm hopeful at least that we're there. Andouille, yeah, but I still would use the one shot with an andouille. Because I mean, a 3/8 plate, you could still put a 3/8 plate on the outside of a one shot, right? You could do 1/8, 3/16, 3/8. And 3/8 is fine for an andouille. Yeah, andouille's one where if you want to do a single grind on a 3/8 through a traditional grinding system, obviously that's totally fine. I mean, it's totally fine to do whatever you want. Doesn't matter. It's all personal preference, right? I've seen some people who like super big fat particles in their regular smoked summer sausage. I've seen some people who want it looking more like a hot dog or a bologna. So it's what everybody likes. All right, we're gonna go outside. CJ says just make sure the knife, make sure it's not storming. Wouldn't want to see you jump again. Yeah, we do these on my back deck sometimes, and we were doing on one where there was some thunder off in the distance. Let's get this set up. Hopefully you guys can see that well. I'll be right back. I'm going to get a thermometer and a couple other things. All right, back. Sorry about that. I've got our ridiculous but awesome 12-inch probe thermometer. This thing is insane. I thought it was a joke when we first got it, but it turns out to be pretty awesome. We can keep ourselves nice and outside of all the smoke while getting good reads on all our temperatures. We're pretty much at 160. We're just going to turn everything a little bit here. Get back here. I see that one trying to get away from me. Close it. We'll let it go for another minute or two. Sinner MD says, future video request. Do your best Justin Wilson impression for the video. Justin Wilson, like, I don't know what that is. I feel like I should. I keep wanting to think a Beach Boy, but I know it's not a Beach Boy. Sinister, who's Justin Wilson? And am I about to feel really dumb not knowing who this is? For those of you in the upper Midwest, Minnesota, areas like that, we have an exciting thing coming out. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, so I probably still will. We're going to be on one of the Ron Shero shows. So, like, The Flush, Made for the Outdoors, things like that. They're going to do an episode on Walton's. They're coming down here to look at our new facility. We're going to hang out with them for a couple of days, shoot some awesome content. So we're super interested and excited for that. Then, Ali and I will be out of the country at the end of the month. We're going to be up in Canada on a yearly fishing trip. This is the fishing trip where I caught that 48-inch muskie that I annoyed everybody with on Meatgistics for months, making sure you all got to see it. Um, Definitely the biggest fish I've ever caught, and the biggest fish anyone had caught on that fishing trip in many, many years. All right, I'm going to shut this down, temp everything, just to make sure. We're at a perfect 160. Hopefully you guys can see that. And 161. So we're going slightly above it, but it is absolutely perfect. So that is why I set it to 350 degrees and just let it sit there. Because that always seems to get the temperature of the sausage just about perfect. And for those of you familiar with Appendix A, even if your sausage is, say, 156 degrees, you're almost certainly perfectly fine. Appendix A is something that tells you you don't necessarily have to cook a product up to 160 degrees to render it food safe. It's a time and temperature chart. So if it's at 154 degrees for like 3 or 4 minutes, it's just the same as cooking it to 160 degrees. All right, I'm gonna grab this, bring them back inside, then I'll come get you guys. All right, so there are our delicious sausages. So we've got pepperoni, supreme pizza. I mean, the smell of these is unbelievable. Supreme pizza bratwurst seasoning. We've got high temp mozzarella cheese, and we're gonna add. Oh, I'm very tilted here, aren't I? Oh, my seasoning got, or not my chat got stuck really far back on that phone. Sorry about that, guys. I thought that the last chat was from Sinister MD. That's the CJ. Hey, wait, where am I going? Does the 8 not have the HB to run the one shot? I won the 8 from you a few years ago. It's a beast and I love it. One shot would be rad though. 8 does not actually have the horse. So we tested, the first unit we got was a number 12. And I tested it on obviously all of them. I just didn't like the performance on the 8. It struggled too much. It'll hook up. It'll absolutely hook up. It's the same hookup as the rest of them. I just don't think it has the horsepower to reliably get through it. The 12 will work on the 12, 22, and 32, and the 22 works on the 22 and the 32. So you could try it. You could absolutely try it. It's just, it wasn't up to what I would be happy like telling people, yes, this would be a good fit, and it works well. CJ Hayes says, I actually had your Supreme Pizza Brats with mozzarella tonight on the grill in central Maine. God. Plus your Walton's order arrived today. I love Maine. I was just talking to my cousin's, what does that make her? My mom's brother's his son, whatever, they live out in Maine on, is it Deer Island? They're researchers for some medical thing. But I used to go up to Maine, spend some summertime up there every year, and I adore Maine. I think Maine is critically underrated as a pretty state in this country. Everybody wants to talk about Montana, Colorado, Utah, which are all gorgeous, all absolutely gorgeous. But they don't get up to Maine and see how beautiful it is up there, especially in the fall, obviously. Senator MD says that's the thermometer she tells you not to worry about. Yeah, it's a big boy. Justin Wilson was the TV chef in the 80s that did Cajun cooking. Had a white shirt with red suspenders, said, "Oh, I guarantee." Doug says, yes, he was quite the cook. I remember his squirrel head stew. Can't seem to get it out of my head. Yeah, Aaron, I mean, that's the right call. That's the smart call. Don't always make the smart decisions, though. All right, so we've got our, try and find one of the shorter ones, but apparently I made these ones fairly long. We're sticking out of both ends here. Nothing wrong with that. And we're going to take some marinara sauce. This is the Rouse, however you say it, marinara sauce. Really, really tasty for how inexpensive it is. If you don't feel like making a marinara sauce yourself, this is the best, closest I've found to homemade. And here we go. Oh. Every once in a while, I get obsessed with something and I make it nonstop. And then I don't make something for a while because I'm sick of it to a greater or lesser degree. And then I have it and I think to myself, why did I ever stop making this? That is absolutely incredible. So, ingredient statement, we're looking at salt, spices, including fennel, which the fennel comes through really nice and clear. Pepper, celery, Parmesan cheese, and Parmesan cheese ingredients. Tomato powder, degerminated, I was going to say degerminated, degerminated yellow cornmeal, vegetables, which are onions and bell peppers, garlic powder, and natural spice extras, including paprika. The Supreme Italian pizza seasoning is one of our best from a bratwurst perspective. But once you add in some hard log pepperoni and just grind it up with the rest of the meat, it takes nothing. There's no extra effort whatsoever. And they're only a couple of bucks. It knocks it into the next stratosphere in taste. Really hope you guys get a chance to try this. It's great for ramen. Patrick and I once took all 4 flavors of cheese we have, the high temp cheese, and if you know about high temp cheese, it's not supposed to melt. The whole thing is it's not supposed to melt. We figured we would try to melt it. So we put it in a pan, put it on extremely high heat, and eventually it will melt. So we did that, we melted it. Then we laid it out onto some butcher paper, the wax side, and then we cut it back up into little squares, probably not quite the same size as what you get when you order it from us, but around that size. And then we added it back to this, and to this day, that might be the best non-dry cured sausage I've ever had. Now, if you want to see something, I'll show you guys something. This is what I'm hoping is going to be the best thing I've ever made. In here, I have some really interesting product. This is dry cured salami with black peppercorn and velvet buck red wine. See if I can do a good job actually showing you guys this. Sorry, I'm trying to do it while it's on the tripod. I put a decent amount of effort into this, and you can see I've got really nice, huge chunks of fat there. You can see I've got nice peppercorns. I didn't break them up. I just put them in their whole. So in, I would say, another 3 weeks, those are going to be ready to slice into. And I am super excited about that. The hardest part about making dry cured stuff isn't any of the science behind it. It's not knowing what to do, because you can find what to do. There's a million books or good videos on how to do it. The hardest part is just the waiting. The waiting is the hardest part. Tom Petty, I think. Allie, what's going on? Allie, we determined that 7 of those are mine now, and I think 3 are for you and Austin to split between you. So CJ was here for that. I'll show you again, CJ. I actually ended up doing something different. So I didn't tie them. I actually ended up piercing the casing. So if you can see, that hook goes through the casing. I hope you're able to see that. It's hard for me to, yeah. So it actually hooks through the bottom or the top of the casing. I tried everything I could to get them short enough, but I just miscalculated on how long I made each one of those sausages. So that was the best thing I could come up with to fix that issue. Does anyone else have any other sausage making or Walton's questions? That are not related to Allie or her availability as a dating partner? Oh, God, that's so good. Really might be the best sausage we make. So CJ, I tried that. I took a wooden dowel and I put it across the the rack on top. The problem with it is trying to get that string up, push a wooden dowel through it, get the next string up, push a wooden dowel through it, and keep it all in line. It was really, really hard. So I just figured, these have pointy ends on them. John will stick it through the sausage. And it was a lot easier. It took me just a couple of minutes. One more time, we have a coupon code. It is LIVE20. So LIVE20. And that is good for 20% off any non-sale Walton or item at waltons.com. Right now, it's capped at $100. So if you buy a $500 thing, you're going to get $100 off. If you buy a $600 thing, you're going to get $100 off. And that is good until, I think, 9 p.m. tonight. But, yeah, it's already 8. So it should be good till 9 p.m. How do you use the Maxim sanitizer? So this is Maxim Hard Surface Sanitizer. It does a really good job sanitizing any surface that we are going to be touching with either our hands and then touching meat, or our meat is going to be touching. All of my lugs, all of my trays, everything here gets sprayed with Maxim Hard Surface Sanitizer. It is a non-rinse sanitizer, which means I can spray it on there, wait 60 seconds, right? So that's the key. To spray it on there and then wait 60 seconds, and it's good to go. Everything's been sanitized. When is the 30-pound electric stuffer going to be back in stock? It is sooner than we thought initially. We talked about this, I think, on the last live stream. Allie, do you happen to remember the date? Because it's not that long. I think it's sometime, it's either this month. I think it's sometime this month. I could try to, actually, you know what? Let's see how well John knows how to use our new system. Which is another way of saying, let's embarrass John on the internet. All right. Oh God, there's so many. Okay, there it is. Too many options. I'm gonna guess this one. Nope, not that one. We're gonna guess that one. Oh, yeah, no, that is it. It looks like it should be in on 7/15. We're hoping. At least we have a purchase order that has that as the date of arrival. So hopefully in just a week, those will be back in stock. All right, well, I appreciate it, guys. This was a lot of fun, and I once again have a good amount of one of my favorite sausages of all time. We will see you guys Thursday. We're gonna be cooking something from my house, and I think I'm going to try to make something I haven't made in a long time. It's called Thai pork. It is a recipe that the guy, the family member in my life who really got me into cooking. It's the first thing he ever really taught me to cook. I thought that'd be fun to do with you guys. It is a delicious pork recipe that I absolutely adore. So hopefully that's what we're gonna make this Thursday from my house at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We'll see you guys.